Good day, everybody. Rob here at WesternPacificWeather.com. Currently right around 10:30 Japan Standard Time. That's right around 09:30 in the Philippines, and right around 01:30 for the rest of you worldwide. And right today, all eyes are on 15W or Megi here, moving off to the west-southwest, right around 14 knots, with winds right around 125 knots, with winds much higher, gusting up to about 150 knots. So a very intense situation out of the system this morning, and it's actually a pretty scary situation for the east coast and northern coast of Luzon in here, but also expecting the system even intensify more so over the next 12 to 24 hours. And here showing you the most recent viz shot. Very organized system here, but much more detail. You can see a lot of good inflow going into the system, or bad inflow, it depends on how you look at it. But the overall organization of this system is very intense right now, with very good low-level convection out of it, and also a very well-defined eye wall right in here, and overall eye. Much of the cirrus overcast has been cleared out, showing this system is much deeper than it was yesterday, and much more intense. And back to the IR shot here, but this IR loop actually gives you a clear understanding of everything that's going on right now that's actually causing the system to intensify very rapidly. You have a very good outflow showing very good exhaust in the upper levels here. Low-level convection is very well organized, actually shown on the viz shot as well with those cumulonimbus tops on there. And also on sea surface temperature charts are showing this system move over warm waters above 90 degrees. Very high amount of energy even being fed from the ocean itself right under this system. But right now, though, about 200 to 300 miles off the east coast of Luzon here, and also about 300 to 400 miles to the northeast of Manila. But that's actually not to take out the effect that this system will have on the metropolitan area. Much of the outer rain bands are extending farther to the south here, which could cause some flooding and possible tornadoes in there. But on that note, though, we're going to actually see where this system is going to be making landfall. Showing streamline analysis here, I don't like to be using models 24 hours out because models can differ. Actually, no gap still kind of picks up on a northerly progression. So right now, those streamlines is pretty exact on it, and showing the system moving to the west-southwest over northeast Luzon right in here. If you watch some of the background flow, showing this curve right in here, and then eventually to the west-southwest, south of this subtropical ridge farther up here to the north. And you can also see that on the surface chart here, showing much of the high pressure up here to the north, which is actually going to keep the system farther to the south. I like to look at typhoons basically as water running down the hill. It's never going to run uphill towards a higher pressure or higher land, as you would say. So basically you want to run downhill towards a lower pressure, which would actually take it over northeast Luzon. And on that, though, here's the official track from GMA. Their track itself is fairly spot on. I believe their central pressure is a little bit lower based on recon reports, but overall, though, still a very intense system and very strong winds out of it, and showing JTWC strap. Forecasting the system to go far beyond super typhoon strength, up to about 149.5 knots just prior to landfall. This makes us a very intense system, and very few systems actually make it up this high. But right now, I do want to note that the cone of air has slimmed down very much so prior to landfall here in the Philippines from here to here, and this is actually meaning that there's track certainty is fairly spot on right here just south of the Santa Ana and Apari right in this region. Also want to note, though, after it makes landfall over Luzon, it's eventually going to re-emerge in the South China Sea here, and expected to actually re-intensify all the way back up to a super typhoon prior to making landfall again in southeast China here, somewhere between Hong Kong and Hainan. Anywhere actually along southeast China here could possibly remake landfall. But that's another thing I do want to note, though, is that don't be too lackadaisical up here in southeast China, as this system is expected to re-emerge in the South China Sea still as a typhoon. But the good news is that the system is expected to move relatively fast, right around 10 to 15 knots across northern Luzon right in here, which should reduce the amount of flooding in the area. Now, zooming in on Luzon here, system is expected to make landfall right in this region. Most of the models overall tracks are all matching up on that, just south of Iligan Point right in here, south of Santa Ana and Apari right in these areas. Now, this is actually fairly bad news for these regions right in here, as the winds are going to be rotating around this in a cyclonic motion up to this area, and that's actually pushing winds onto the northern coast of this area. So That's a terrible arrow. This is actually going to increase the storm surge along the northern coast right in here. The islands up to the north should have a little bit of resistance on this, but as I already noted, this is going to be a very strong system at landfall, right around 145 knots, with winds gusting much higher than that. So even these islands actually could create some funneling-induced winds, which could increase gust even higher than that. So a very dangerous system, especially along the northern coast right in here. So I strongly advise anybody living in low-lying areas along these northern coast to evacuate as soon as possible and move farther inland. The thing I want to note is that Pegasa has already put out some warnings along the east coast and the northern coast here on Signal Force 1. Basically like a hurricane watch back in the States, just saying be prepared for a strong typhoon to be making landfall soon. I'm actually expecting this to increase to 3 and 4 over the next 24 hours, so just be aware of that as well. And if I was a warning drawing man, I would say that basically this entire area right in here should be under a typhoon watch, just as far as the winds are concerned. It was tropical storm force winds extending out much farther, all the way down past Manila in here. And also want to note though that tornadoes could be a possibility throughout this entire region as well, due to the effect of the outer rain bands moving over the area, which have very strong embedded thunderstorms in them, and you could have some tornadoes spawning up out of that. And these tornadoes could be obscured by the rain as well, which could make them very, very dangerous, especially in these heavy rainfall areas and in the metropolitan areas. And on a last note, I do want to note though that landslides and mudslides are very highly probable on the northern coast right in here, especially in areas of deforested regions. So if you live in any areas, especially in low-lying areas that have no trees on the sides of the mountains, this actually takes away from the strength of the soil, since there's no roots in the soil. So especially in low-lying areas, flash flooding is very highly probable, and the chance of mudslides and landslides even increases without those trees in the region. So that is all for my update this morning. If you have any further questions, you can field them at westpacificweather.com. You can email me there. And also you can find me at storm2k.org. There's a lot of people there with some good meteorological discussion on this system. Otherwise, though, we'll have another update again later this afternoon into evening time. Hopefully, you get some more information on the exact landfall from this system. Also, I do want to note, though, is that keep on following updates from GASA, TWC, and JMA here. And also listen to your local evacuation procedures. And always play it safe out here, everybody. This is a very dangerous situation, a very dangerous system. So if you live in the northern Luzon, play it very safe and listen to your evacuations. I think you can write this one out because it's going to be a very dangerous system at landfall. So stay safe out there, everybody, and I'll see you again later today. Bye.